Yeah, well, introduce it. Do you reckon you could just fill Sloggs' shoes? Easy, isn't it? Really?
Easy, yeah. He doesn't really do much. Let's be fair.
Oh no. Let's just take it from the top then. We'll keep it all professional. I don't even have to joke. I don't have to say, oh, fucking, now it's back to us two again and left that douchebag in the waiting room or anything like that. I'm Dan Watson.
I'm James Sloggett. Welcome to Dirt.
Dude, thank you so much for joining us here. He's let me down bad. What can I say? He's taken family as a priority over recording an episode of The Dirt. And there's plenty of people out there wanting episodes of The Dirt. And who else to go to?
Well, basically, the house. Substitute teacher. You know, when you have those days where you have a class and you do nothing because it's the fun substitute teacher.
That's it. Yeah, so thank you, James, for joining us.
No worries.
Current now 2023 UK champ in the house.
All right.
Balling right now. We're balling. We've gone straight up the pecking order to the top here now. For the co-host. Right.
The upgrade.
Yeah, I got a phone call from the ATBA saying that I was eligible for an upgrade. So I said, yeah, go for it. Go for it. It didn't cost me any more extra on the Zoom charge every month.
No.
Anyway, let's get our actual guest in here, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Who will have seen him on the pod before a long time ago, with the Hart Hill episode, a bit of the ode to Hart Hill, the wonderful place that used to be Super Bowl and Hales Board and Bike Park and stuff, in its various different iterations. But today we are focusing on one particular person who had an involvement in it from the Hart Hill times specifically, and is now best known as Mr. UK mountainboarding. If you follow any of the mountainboard, have I got it around the right way? UK mountainboarding UK. We'll have to ask him.
UK mountainboarding.
Nash Er in the Hissus. There he is.
How we doing, people?
What's up, gangster?
Yeah, good, right? Good. The head honcho, the captain, the main man of UK mountainboarding.
And Dan, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and Dan.
Yeah.
Are you right, James?
To be fair,
just forget that the pro overall is sort of winning in the corner over there. Yeah.
I should change my name.
Yeah.
To be fair, I reckon I'm quite glad that it's gone this way round on the screen there, because I reckon, Nash, with our lengths of hair at the moment the same, I could have gone if I'd have only put my Hart Hill t-shirt on tonight, and we'd have been up the top row. It'd have freaked everyone out. Nobody would have known where to look. Yeah, joke not viable for those listening on audio. Go ahead.
It's the visual thing. Go on YouTube.
So yeah, Nash, thanks for joining us here this evening. I think I may have already fucked up the intro, because your Instagram handle is at UK mountainboarding or at mountainboarding UK?
At UK mountainboarding.
Yeah, I did do it right, didn't I?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can pronounce some things correctly, yeah.
I always want people to do like the hashtag UK mountainboarding, and we build like a fat hashtag. But it just works. Like people do that one, or they do it mountainboarding UK. So either way,
I got to say the only hashtag that I seem to put in anything these days is when somebody pulls out a nice 1 footer, and then you get to keep 1 footers relevant. But that's never going to be a major hashtag, is it? Because 5 or 6 people pulling them out on the reg.
The only time I find it, like personally, it's worked well using the hashtag thing has been. For all of you can use this yourself, is like just put hashtag ATBA UK and then the year afterwards. So if you put 17, 21 or whatever, and then I've always used that to drag all the photos into one hashtag. So you notice people have done it for worked well this year for UK MC 23.
Yeah.
So if you put that hashtag in, at least you can see all the content from, just from that 1 year, which is pretty interesting. That's it. Side hashtags otherwise.
We'll have to go old school and write it all down on a notepad of all the right hashtags to use, and then post a picture of that notepad.
Yeah,
everybody to use the same ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're joining us this evening. Obviously, James has just a little run through explaining that Sloggs is missing from the party tonight. Thank fuck. He gets, well, it's all started to go to his head, isn't it, a bit, really. He's on a diet of foie gras and caviar, sleeping in silk sheets, and travels to work in a bloody G-Wagon these days. I mean,
it's not that, it's getting that Porsche stuck in the field. It's ridiculous.
No, a Taycan. I said to him, water, mud, and bloody electric don't mix.
It just gets not going to work.
Well, it's all that newfound fame and money.
He goes straight to his noggin.
That's it.
YouTube royalties coming right in.
Oh yeah, we've. I think we are. We're now coming up for 60, maybe 68, something like that.
Wow.
We've made a grand total of $6.78 off of the audio downloads.
Damn.
I don't know what it is. I know it's under $10, but it could. I keep saying it's $6 something, but I never know what it is. But yeah. This is not about the dirt. This is not about the dirt's royalties or Sloggs' bloody newfound gangster lifestyle and not being asked to come and join us to record this.
Fat cigars.
This is, well, I blame them on Andrew Tate, his new mate.
Yeah.
Ever since Sloggs got to the top of the pyramid scheme, he's forgotten everyone else now. Look, this episode is about you, Nash, and a little bit about James. We'll cover that when we come to the most recent of topics, the UK Champs 23. But as a little recap, we recorded an episode way back with the Hart Hill crew. That was yourself. Mark Hale joined us for that.
Sam, I think it was.
Sam Nicholas, yeah.
That's correct.
So make sure you go back and listen to that one, because that is a hilarious episode. I don't think I'll be able to top any Clive stories. So there is only one man that has the stories for all those, and it's spoken well. So Mark, tell you about those.
We need to get Mark, if by chance you happen to listen to this, get back on your off-road wheelie board. We've missed you this season. Not seen or heard much of you. And it would, if we get you back on board a few times here, Pard, it would justify me getting you back in the studio and we can have another giggle.
Yeah, because I'd like to hear a solo one with him. That'd be great.
Yeah, exactly.
I did a podcast with him, and it's fantastic. So we did our own called the Hip Hop Shed Sessions podcast. If you didn't know, go out. Should cop that, give yourself an eardrum full of hip hop beats and Mark and me rambling in a shed. So he was fantastic. He's a great guy.
You were doing that way back as well,
that was some years ago now. It really is. And we just went different paths, and so we couldn't carry on doing it, and it was a shame. But we still look at sort of the statistics occasionally, for how well you're doing, and just it still randomly does really well. Like occasionally we're just like, oh wow, we should really do this again. And it just gets spikes. I think it just goes big in America because of somebody hearing something or somebody in Germany, and it's amazing how it'll roll. It's like for yourselves, you'll find just time is one of the biggest things for a lot of podcasts, really, because as soon as people realize there's a body of content that they can go back and listen to, it's binge watching. You kind of get into it,
Well, that's the thought. As we've always said all the time, YouTube is hosting the videos. They'll always remain there for the dirt and that. That if in another 20, 30 years time we're all still kicking around, we can have a little listen and remind ourselves how rad we once were. But so was that podcast there with you and Mark, that you were friends before Mount?
So to go wind it right back briefly, is good mate of mine way back from school, Andy Dumelo, shouts out to that, the big G himself. We well into skateboarding as kids, and then our mate Phil, he got given a exit mountain board with a kite for his birthday or Christmas or something, and he had a really nice big steep hill in his back garden, pretty much just outside of his garden. He had a really nice field, and we couldn't fly the kite, so we just tried shredding the board, and then we got into that a couple of times, and sort of got a little bit into it, just messing about with it more than anything. And then eventually, I think we must get on a bit. Andy must have gone to uni. I think he went to Bristol, where he met Simon, and all the crew down that way. And then he kind of came back from uni, was like, we've got to do this. And we were, next thing you know, Andy's sending me down massive hills on a much better board than an exit, like the upgraded version of the exit board, really. Few choice parts to make it a bit more rideable. Bungee heel straps, big up to them for years.
Yeah,
we all had those.
Double wrapped.
Yeah,
maybe duct taped together.
Oh man, my fingers would go blue trying to put them on in starting gates sometimes. They were too tight,
They go over the top of the shoe and just ping in the Achilles or something. Like,
I used to have hiking boots on as well, and they would, like you say, just flick over the top and then come down, and then in your boot.
So it was them days that then led on to just going to comps. We straight away we went to out to grass. Was the second time I ever went and rid a board. I was really wetting it. Didn't want to go down the big track. And Andy was like, "Yeah, come on, we'll do the board across. Like you'll be fine." I was like, "No, let me just go down the grass hill first. Let me go down the grass." Did one run down the hill, and he was like, "Come on, you can do it now." And that was it. We were just straight out of the gates, just loving it. That was it. Absolutely hooked, completely addicted. And then from then we went to our first comp, which I can't remember the year, but Ashmore Holland might remember, because we met him at our very first competition, nice and early in the morning. And he invited us over for a cup of coffee, you could say, and we were best friends ever since. And
did he smell as good then as he does now?
Yes, so that's Muller was one of my best friends from the riding days, and it was sort of like Muller, Friday, and Smiler. People was, and sorry,
was Tip in there as well? James?
Yes, and Tippin, and not forgetting Tippin as well. So but yeah, we just really bonded a lot, and did a lot of riding and a lot of hanging out. And then throughout years of competition, I guess there was how many in a year? There used to be 6 or 7 or 8 sometimes, was there?
Bloody there was something every weekend of the summer holidays. That's for sure. It felt like.
Yeah, 2006, there was 6 rounds that turned up into 7 because Court Farm got rained off round 1, didn't it, when we had the mudslides? So there was in total 7 main comps, and that was without downhills. That was just border cross and freestyle.
Yeah. So how old are you, James? Let me air this. How old are you? Sorry.
32.
Yeah. So I remember you definitely remember you coming up in a way, if you're a bit watching your progression through them years, especially. Because I think Devon was my first, definitely, and I think you might have been at that. Would you have been at that?
If I was there, 2006 was the first time I went to Swanbrook, but I had a broken collarbone, so I was just watching.
Right.
And then I think after that it was 08, maybe. It was the next time I went to Swanbrook.
Which could, definitely. And I mean, you were one of the Court Farm lads, weren't you? So Ironside's crew. So
there was so many of us back then from the Court
Farm. There's definitely something to stick out, definitely. But my just years for me of then going to all the comps and enjoying it, and eventually, I guess to bring it up to speed would have been about 2016, 2017 is where I sort of really started hanging out with certain groups. I guess the mountain board community had shrunk a lot, and it meant that you were maybe socializing with, realizing the people that are involved in mountain boarding, because it was quite easy then to sort of stay within a kind of a circle, as much as everyone was friends. There were so many people. You had little camping circles almost, didn't you? That you might have only grown to know the next people because they're your neighbours, and yeah, and that's I think maybe it could be like Neat Borders would have been around 2015 maybe. And that was started by Andy Dumelow and Cheb, which their baby, which then I guess grew. The crew got bigger and bigger with like me, there's Scott, Ledbetter, Rudog. We even had Bjorn Jenkins, who was north, east, east. I can't think which country he's from, but yeah. And then I think because of that, or maybe, see, I get all the dates and the years mixed up, but it's around that time where, like, I guess there was bits of stuff being put out on social media a bit more, that led to me sort of controlling a few of these things, like running the Neat Borders. To go back a bit, I used to run like a couple of little skate crews back on like the MySpace days. We had like Easy Skate Crew, which would have been when I was really young, and then eventually we had like the Avic Skate Crew, which was like, yeah, big up my mate Sheephead and Merlin, and Jordan as well. We were like, yeah, riding around Burton-on-Trent, putting out loads of little skate videos, little clips and stuff. More before I'd ever seen anything like it on the internet, really. I used to get skateboard videos, but I never used to see
these little reels.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
and it's
essentially
not like
reels before reels were invented.
Yeah, and it's not like I was really trying to do that at all. It was just like probably a quick, easy way of like, this happened today, and then you could put it up, It was that ease of uploading stuff. And so I guess that all of that knowledge and editing had always been into a bit of, photography and videography. And so running the Neat Borders thing, being part of Rivermex as well, on all the pump tracks and all that kind of thing, meant that I was sort of hyped to be like not only a part of mountain boarding as being such a bigger fan of it, meant that I could share it as well. And like you realise the lack of what mountain boarding had as a presence online. I mean, it did exist; it's always been there, but it's you'd see odd pockets of it, but nothing that was.
Well, that's it. Mountain boarding has a great in-person community.
Yeah.
But there's been no cohesion online between the community as a whole. With the shrinking of the ATBA over that time period as well, and it not being a priority to build an online presence, I suppose. But
and there's things like restrictions involved for certain groups as well, like the ATBA, where they kind of need to stick to, like, we can't, like, they can't go sharing things that have got people not riding with helmets on. You need to show that there's responsibilities basically to withhold within it.
Yeah.
And there's parts of mountain boarding that doesn't always wear a helmet or doesn't always speak politely, or and that's all a part of it as well. And it needs all sharing. And that brings me to kind of the point of what I was seeing eventually online with like the birth of Instagram. Was a lot of accounts sharing not their content. It was more about, you didn't have to know every single skater online and follow their account, because, for instance, I don't know, Skateboard News or something is sharing everything from everywhere, and they've got 1 million followers on their site with people that don't skateboard. They just want to see gnarly tricks, and it's like I'm like that really online. It's like I don't want to have to follow everyone. It's dull, isn't it? Like, you really want to limit your time on these things. Like, so it's nice if it's all in one place, and you don't have to feel that you've got to go and check all of these different people out. And how do you know you're always seeing like the best thing as well, or anything of it? Like, look how varied skateboarding is. It does absolutely everything. It's from like longboarding to freestyle to flat ground tricks, big air. Like, it's just so varied. And if you just follow Tony Hawk, you're only going to see vert skating. So follow whatever it is, UK mountain boarding, plugging it. And then then you might see somebody who's mountain boarding for the very first time, and you get an experience of, oh, like, I could do that, you know, or you're seeing double backflips, you know,
naked.
Naked, yeah, you know, exactly.
It's the same as some of the big, like I follow quite a lot of the BMX and mountain bike competition scenes, but I don't very often, apart from maybe X Games, actually sit down and watch the entire event. But you're seeing so many reels and compilations of what happens at Crankworks or what happens at like the UCI BMX stuff that you don't need to sit down and watch the whole thing, but you can still feel up to date. So it's like the type of thing you could do with the broadcast that, you know, the Dirt and ATVA did, just like snips, like little snippets of the races you can share them about, and might actually get people to see, like, because how professional that looked is, I mean, it's not how professional mountain boarders are, but it looked like it looked the part. I've had quite a few comments since you guys did that of people who know mountain boarding, who've, you know, all my friends that have been coming to me for comps for the good time since like late 2000s were like, how weird it was seeing mountain boarding look like a proper sport, like with a broadcast.
Yeah, that looks absolutely insane. It was ESPN level of broadcast, you know. That's what I want to see. Like,
I think, I mean, what can I say? We're all really happy with how it went, especially given the time constraints. Cool, we've come right off topic here, haven't we? But yeah, especially given the weather constraints of the weekend, which then entailed into time constraints, you know. Well, I think we put out a great package there, and hopefully it's enough to entice some people to maybe want to see their product in the background, you know, as they're going past on the hill, you know, even if that's your local builders merchants or, you know, whatever. It makes no deal whether it's Red Bull or whoever, if they're contributing to keeping this sport going and going the right way, then I don't know, just trying everything these days, and you know. And it's really worth doing for one point. We've always waited for the competition video. There's an edit, people do their edits from each comp, and we'd have to wait for that, and there was no waiting this time. It was literally on your phone as it was happening, you know, and now it's there to go back and look at. And as much as an edit is always going to be great, you know, this actually showcased all of the racing as if it was the X Games, as if it was, you know, whatever it might be. And yeah, I really think it's something that needed to be done. When I don't want to go knocking any other sport or anything like that, and I don't mean it like this, but one wheels have been around for no time at all, really. They're an electric thing that has come about very rapidly to be quite big. And I've watched like one wheel racing, and it was filmed like ESPN, and you're like, really already, you know, like it's happened that fast, like. And why has it not happened to mountain boarding? Like, I felt as if it like, why don't we have this? You know, more than anything, you know. It'd be interesting to know how abundant one wheels are in America. Do you know what I mean? I know a lot of people will use them, but then if you look at social media, then you'd be forgiven the same for thinking about the UK or any other country around the world. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. But they must have shifted a lot of boards.
I only realised the other day they're made in America as well. Like the one wheel company is, you know, they're proud of it being a.
I think they're called Future Motion or something like that, and they're real locked on their product. The reason why you don't see any other proper one wheels is because they've got that product locked out with the lawyers and stuff like that.
I watched a really fun edit the other day of them, like, in some desert somewhere, and they're just like, you know, riding on them like they're on chairs, or they're just all having like a free for all, like they would in like, you know, where everyone drops in on a mini ramp at the same time, and you just see what happens. They're like doing that to a fun box in the desert somewhere, you know. It just looks little airy fun.
There's definitely. I mean, I'd be a liar if I didn't say we had other ideas. I mean, we did the ATB Live was the clean environment where we weren't affected by the time, the weather, and stuff like that. We knew we had a good crew of riders that were guaranteed to throw down. Well done, by the way, James, for performance in that. And like there was supposedly nothing to go wrong. It still went wrong though. We had that birthday party. We were supposed to have like an extra 3 hours worth of setup and stuff, and then we realised that the skate park had been double booked, and we had to wait for a birthday party. So that marred
zero rehearsal and very limited practice.
Yeah. So even that, when we with all the best will in the world, it's still things were sent to test us. It's tough. And no more so than most for Tim and his little crew there, because essentially each one of those, with the exception maybe of the sound man, who's probably maybe doing one or two people's jobs, Tim's essentially doing. Tim and Craig were like doing 5 people's jobs, and Eamon, bless him, was working 5 or 6 cameras remotely. The first time is that he tried it on the mixing desk, and so what they put out was fantastic. And thank you very much, Tim and crew. Thank you for the stress and strains that you all went through to get that out, because we've got, as Tim says, we've got a blueprint now. We know what to expect. We know what we can do with the equipment, how it performs, and so on and so forth outside. And essentially what we can do to mitigate those things next time being affecting us. Like having to shout out to the spectators, please, if anyone can come and hold an umbrella over the camera. It's a bit of a fresher's mistake, I suppose, but it's a learning thing, isn't it?
It works out in the end, and pulled together really lovely. It's fantastic to still watch now, and it will be for years to come. That's the main thing.
Well, and let's keep fingers crossed, see what happens over the close season, see if we can think of anything to do inside over winter. If not, it'll be something next summer. But I know Tim's keen to jump back in and do some more stuff. That'll be cool.
It's very happy to have him on board, definitely.
Yeah, definitely so. So tell us a little bit about Hart Hill. Flexing the top there. Take us back to your involvement with Hart Hill, with
the Supreme t-shirt. This man. I got involved in like 2016 or 17, leading into, I think it was like it's the 17 into 18 year, I think, but 2016 I was definitely at Hart Hill a lot more, or Hale Super Bowl then, or Hales as everyone knows it, and Mark basically asked me to get involved. Became one of the directors for Hart Hill Adventure Park, along with Stu Evanson, Adam Hale as well, Mark's brother, Rusty, James Ruston, if you remember.
Again, Sam Nicholas was it?
Sam Nicholas, Greg, who is the mountain boarder that mountain bikes.
He is not a mountain biker. He is just a mountain boarder, but he
seems to just go to mountain bike things, and he's just like, these just not my people. It's funny. We've infected him somehow. There was back in the day as well, we had like Poppy as well, Sam's missus at the time, and my ex-missus Annabelle, sort of helping out, as well as sort of maybe even Caris and my missus now, Sarah, in the later years of it all. I'm sorry if I've missed anybody's names out on that as well. There was definitely a lot of people that helped out as well that came down back in the day. But yeah, we had an amazing crew of people there, and just tried to push Art Hill in a new direction. Calling it an adventure park. We had bigger ideas, and to go past just being a mountain board and mountain bike park, and utilize the hill for other adventures. Really, is a better way of putting it. Similar to how Bugs Boarding has used grass ledges, as well as we're thinking of having adventure trails up through the Sandstones Trail at the back of the park. One of my focuses being social media again was to promote Hart Hill, and just try and share everything that had landed on the park, really, and try to promote Hart Hill as well as mountain boarding as well, really. As around that time, I guess we noticed like it is more of a dull. I think we're on a lift, I'd like to say. It feels like it. But
well, I think that cohesion online, has helped people to feel a little bit closer, as we touched on earlier, with the likes of UK Mountainboarding and that, having that all in one place, and us being out with it to tag you and such. It gives it makes it closer. It's in the palm of your hand of an evening or of a Sunday night, when people come home, you can check the UK Mountainboarding stories, and you'll see what everybody's been up to instantly, as you say, like with all that, and that's what people are craving these days, is that instant connection to whatever floats their boat, whether it be mountain boarding or whether it be LARPing or whatever that is.
It's not even just like for the UK mountain, it's more showing the world what we're doing in the UK as well.
Exactly.
And it's the same, like when coming back a little bit to live broadcast, literally 2 minutes after we finished, I grabbed my phone, I had messages from Dayan in Slovenia saying congratulations, well done, like you rode really well. And I'm like, crikey, like, literally as soon as I could grab my phone. And so there's people all around being able to watch it. And it's the same with the UK mountainboarding. All the European scene can just be like, this is what the Brits are up to.
That's it. I mean, there's a good sort of, I don't know, if you were to give us in fact, Nash, it's not my episode, I reckon you could give us a brief rundown of the top sort of 6 or 7 around the world Instagram handles who are putting out the best content for people to see. So I mean,
I always keep being amazed. Ozzy-san in Japan, he always puts out loads of great stuff just of Japan for a start, which is like another world to me anyway. So like he rides just amazing spots, and the Japanese way of riding is amazing as well. They do the same thing with skateboarding. I don't know what they do. They just do it different. They do it Japanese style, and it's cool as hell. Obviously, check out Dylan Warren, because he's always putting all the dope content out all the time. And then AJ Lawson. Oh my God, follow that guy. Follow AJ Lawson. I see his board hanging in the back there, mate. Just above your head there. One of the steeziest to hit a board. And then like LA Mountainboarding as well, their park. Go check out Mail's place, and that beautiful centre, because it's something else, and all the riding there is always fantastic. And then from is it like Portugal with
Antonio?
Sorry,
Antonio.
It is Antonio. Sorry, where's Not Mowgli from as well? Is he
same
place? Yeah, Not Mowgli. Follow him. I could reel a list if I go through. Just probably as soon as I turn Instagram on, they're probably the guys at the top of it. So,
well, that's it. I mean, there are certainly some people within the scene are quite prolific in content making.
And it's great to see people like the drone shots from like Snipes FPV. If you go follow him, he's got great shots of like AJ Lawson and I'm forgetting names. I'm bad.
Joshua Elder, Devin Garland. They're all
Devin Garland, and so on. So loads of their parks are just fantastic, and he's getting amazing shots. He once again somebody who I think he mountain boards now, snipes, but he didn't before. He's somebody who's got their interest in some sort of media content, and then taking that interest into mountain boarding is something that's elevated it. I'm failing on another name now. This is really bad. For skateboarding, the introduction of like skateboard media and the way it was filmed is all down to one person. The fisheye lens and taking skateboard content in a certain form and making it like as digestible as it can be. And I feel like drone shots are doing that for mountain boarding. Being able to stay behind a rider and not just have that one guy on one jump, just film him go over, and that could be it.
Not even just the FPV stuff, but like the wide shots. Like my mate Ali just took his Mavic up to Compiègne for the Worlds, and some of the aerial shots that he got of the border cross races was class. Being able to see the entire race.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was pretty gutted actually
that hold a camera as well, because Sonny Dibbons, my boy, is killing it doing that, riding electric, and Eamon, he's managed to do that with some silly equipment as well, giant gyros and stuff to hold the camera straight and still ride a board is ridiculous. But it's that stuff that makes it more digestible, I think.
I think people have long time had a sort of a like of those continuous one shots, like when you get the marble runs or somebody will set up. Is it OK Go?
I say OK Go, the Rune Goldberg machine.
Yeah, exactly. Things like that, and those drone shots, whether they be FPV style or whatever. Yeah. It's that longer clip, that longer unedited clip that maintains the level of interest. Is essentially it, isn't it?
And UK mountain boarding has the ability to be friends with, follow everybody that mountain boards and let anybody that mountain boards follow them, or if you don't. But these, I was saying that, UK mountain boarding predominantly just focuses on the UK and its riders. That the people are like having interest from outside. AJ Lawson does follow UK mountain boarding, we're Dylan, whoever it is, and so they are seeing what we are doing, and it doesn't mean that they have to follow everybody as well, and having an amazing content and pieces from, say, like Eamon making some incredible videos over the years is like definitely shone a light on UK riders. It's a privilege for UK mountain boarding to share it, to be honest.
The boy has done good as Eamon, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Nice to get someone. Well, if only we could get Jake Paul or something down bugs. We had Sam Pilgrim.
Yeah,
that's a start. People like that. If you can get anybody with that sort of following, they're gonna have that. They're casting the net so wide, with so many people that it all helps, doesn't it?
The amount of views Pilgrim had on both of those, because he's done 2 bugs videos now. The amount of views on both of them were mad.
Yeah. Very.
I wonder. Yeah, like hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Has it moved on to actually getting people through the door yet? Do you think, or?
You'd have to ask Nina and Bugs.
Yeah, well, that's it. Oh, another Bugs episode.
Yeah, it's definitely put them on the map. They did. There's definitely mountain bikers that are really interested to go to Bugs boarding now. Definitely, especially after that last video that he did with his mountain bike. It's just insanity. Yeah, big up Sam Pilgrim. Like, that is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like it just jumps on any weird contraption like that and just automatically shreds.
Yeah. Didn't he do a backflip on it off the curve?
Kick away.
Yeah.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah. So getting that kind of light is mega, isn't it? because
I think a big up to Andy and Matt, because they kind of helped spearhead that as well, because Andy's friends with Cam MTB. I don't know if you follow him, but he's sick, and he's friends with Tom Cardy, who's obviously one of Sam Pilgrim's closest friends. So I think that sort of connection bred those videos, and then Eamon helped as well. So that was a good little sort of segue into our sport from some of the biggest mountain bike names.
I mean, that's it. Again, it's, I suppose, with Matt or Matt and people like Matt frequented in those circles for a while with the nitro stuff, and that would have obviously given him a certain amount of kudos and respect amongst the different sports out there, in the same way that a Coney or Leon could go into any of the US nitro and Red Bull stuff, and they'll have that. There's those connections are there by however many degrees of separation. I doubt very much Matt keeps Travis Pastrana's mobile number on speed dial or anything, but I suspect Travis still probably knows who Matt is and still knows what mountain boarding is. But Matt, call in the favour. Get called over and go and play in bloody Travis Pastrana land and take a mountain board.
To ring him up like, yo, TP, you coming round? Like,
send one of them cars round, pick me up. So do you think? Well, I mean, I suppose we did talk a little bit. I don't know what time we're on now.
Yeah, I might
we're all doing right. As well. We did cover a little bit about the UK champs when we was talking about the live broadcasts that we did. But as I mentioned in the introduction, which you were in the waiting room for, champ is in the house, quite literally. You did say it earlier there. Well done, dude.
Cheers.
Long time. When was the last time? You have had UK champ before, haven't you?
Yeah, 2018. So second time.
5 years.
5 years.
5 year gap.
5 years and still killing it.
Yeah.
Can you remember your
30s?
Can you remember your positions from that year?
I won the border cross. I got second in the downhill. Connor Smout pipped me to the first. I've literally never won a downhill. Like second best I've ever done. And then freestyle. I think I won the freestyle as well. Actually, yeah, I think it was 1-1-2. Yeah, I think it was me and Andy fighting for the freestyle.
And this time was one for the border cross,
one for the freestyle, and third for the downhill.
Which would have been at Hart Hill, I think, wasn't it?
It was Hart Hill that I got in 2018. But I so wanted to win the downhill, and I was sat literally in first when they called last runs, and I just had to sit by the timer and watch Matt and Andy come down. I was like, just winning them, please, they do it, and they both did it.
I missed out on a podium at the Worlds, didn't I? Because we didn't have Lifetime was there, but we didn't have access to know who was it. I missed out on a podium by less than 3 seconds, and I didn't bother riding for the last hour of the thing because I thought I had it in the bag. I was like 30 seconds clear at the time when I took my board and pads off. 30 seconds, nobody's going to catch up with that. Boom, miss out on the podium by 3 seconds.
Like I never stop riding until the clock's out. Like even all the downhills that I've done in the past, Beeren always makes a joke. I just put so many runs in just to try and catch up with, especially Beeren. There was one competition, I think it was Screaming Goat. It was down near one of Harry Jessup's spots, and Beeren pinned it first run, scared the living daylights out of himself, but held on and posted an incredible time. Literally just took his pads off and went, "Yep, I'm done. That's a sick time." And it took me, I think, 15 runs to match his time.
Wow.
I just kept going and kept going, and then I ended up being slightly above him because I had a better second time because he only had one time.
And you wore the track in that much, you made it faster.
Dried it out. It was muddy at the start of the day and dry and dusty by the end.
All those shortcuts count eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm just better when I'm on a track, either chasing or being chased by other people than when I'm on my own.
Yeah. Oh, you certainly led all right on the weekend just gone. Well done to you.
Yeah.
A bit of a, as we mentioned earlier, the weather sort of had a bit of a play in the weekend. Saturday was an absolute write-off, pretty much everything except for that little window on the Saturday afternoon for the downhill. And as we said, we've run downhills at Bugs before, and they're always fun.
Yeah.
But that one through the grass there, I didn't get to ride it, but it looked like an absolute blast.
It was a ball, and I literally, like, the weather was, obviously it was raining so much that when Matt put his little video on the ATBA calling me out because I was at home, it was raining so much that I genuinely thought it was going to be a who can stay upright competition. I didn't think it was going to be competitive. I thought it was just going to be, right, who doesn't fall over. But by the end, the top 15 people were separated by 1 second.
Yeah.
Which is mad.
It was close timing. It was ridiculous. And then there was another block of like 10 people in the next second as well.
Yeah. It wasn't a long track, given it was like the fastest we were in 27s. But to have that many people within a second of each other, like Connor was gutted. He got 4th, and he was 0.002 behind me. That's basically like me wearing a slightly thicker sock for the laser. You know what I mean?
It's true, though, but this is the thing that has been argued the point of over the years. It's that if you make a track, you can have 2 styles of track, don't you? You either make a track that's accessible and forces everybody into a real tight grouping, which means you're arguing over fighting for those milliseconds, which is great for the likes of Formula One and stuff like that. Or do you go down the Red Bull hardline route where it's just a fucking shite show of a course with some mental big kickers in between that has the potential to be a one person race. For example, like the Worlds, okay, Pete had the break there, that not that I don't really think he used it, let's be honest, to get that time. I don't think he's going to be using that break there.
What people have said, it just seems like he just didn't. He just went flat out, didn't he? Yeah.
But even so, there's levels, isn't there? It's like the aliens of MotoGP. There's always been that grouping of you guys, James, including yourself, Matt, Andy, Eamon, and that your sort of crew. And I regard you all as a crew because you knock about and you ride together and you socialise together. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
You've grown up through the ranks together, competing with each other every year, and you've sort of drawn a bit of distance away from the rest of the following field. From a competition fight, it always seems to be you guys at the top there. And
I do think again, the weather had something to play into the border cross this year. I think because it slowed the track down a bit, at least the top section, it again leveled that bit of playing field. Like the gaps between people were less so. And I know obviously Eamon and Matt weren't racing, but I think that's part of the reason why we had 3 completely new faces to the pro final. I was there and I've done pro finals, but Sonny, Will, and Jeff Bond, none of them have been in a pro final. Maybe Sonny, but definitely Will and Jeff told me they'd never been in a pro final before. And Will's always been a sick racer, and Jeff's new and proven to be a sick racer. But I think the fact that it was that slightly bit slower and the inside lines meant that, the gaps between the pros and other people was just less apparent.
I do think that the video, the broadcast that we put out, like you say, for an analysation purposes, if you're sitting down and watching it, you got to be inside on both.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the reason that when we did it last year in the final, that I didn't do very well because Eamon and Matt just smashed that inside, and I learned from that. But like you say, being able to analyse and actually watch every race, even from a rider's perspective, because we obviously are in our own races and you never really see, like the ones either side of you, definitely. So when you're in the semis, you never really get to see what the other semis happened, you can see being able to see every single race, and even seeing what's happening behind you. I obviously watched the broadcast back, and the final, Will comes round that first corner with so much overspeed. And I remember coming out the inside, and I actually went over the feature and I winced a little bit because I could hear it coming and thought, is he going to ride into the back of me? No, he didn't, and carried on. But I didn't realise that he properly swerved in between me and Sonny to go to the outside. And he must have missed both of us by inches either side. It was like the perfect crossover.
Yeah.
It was like a bit of riding, but you don't see that when you're the one in the race. But being able to
I think if he'd have followed you into that inside there, he ripped that corner so hard.
He probably would have overtaken me into that line, but he didn't.
You'd have definitely got tangled. Well, hopefully you wouldn't have got tangled, but there would have had to have been some serious bloody dogfighting in the corner, you know.
Yeah, talking about fighting. Sorry, Jack Dudley, because the inside line of the semi-final, I scared him a little bit there, I think. So
you showed him a line he didn't know existed. That's what happened. He just had the exit plan and just went, nah.
No, he definitely could have cut back in behind me, but I think I just spooked him by just suddenly appearing on his left-hand side. So
yeah,
he was riding an absolute storm. Big up the Jack Dudley.
Yeah, big up Jack. Bit bigger Will as well for that riding as well, because he pointing out his style is just always looks like he's not really trying, but always does incredibly well. He has this such a relaxed state of riding. I'm like, how is he just pumping? As you know, if you just watched him on his own, you might not think he was going that fast. But
imagine what he could do if he put the effort in.
Yeah, he is. That's how cool he is.
So and the only again, I didn't compete in any of the events this year, but the freestyle at the champs this year was only a little sort of you had the jib jam, wasn't there, and then there was just the middle line, wasn't it?
The dirt jumps were drying out, but they weren't dry enough for us to actually hit and properly trick. So the choice was hit the medium jumps and we'll actually get some tricks, in, or see who can try and gain speed on the big ones. But it wouldn't have been worth it, which is a shame because there was a lot of us that all planned some pretty big stuff. I know Ash was planning runs, Andy's got some big tricks, Sonny had planned out big lines, and we couldn't put them off. But that's, I suppose, something about trying to be as much of an all-round freestyler as you can to try and get the tricks on the medium and the smaller jumps, and then the rails and stuff as well. It's trying to cover all bases, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was still a good freestyle jam.
And it's still a show of who the best riders were, really. In every category. Because if you can't do it on those, you can't do it on the big ones. So it was great. It was still fantastic to watch.
Great, a small field of Groms as well, in both the downhill and the freestyle. Yeah,
they had their own jib event as well, which is great.
Yeah, that was cool.
To compete in freestyle as well.
Just need to keep building them. Maybe more mountain boarders, have more kids. You've got a load more kids. Your kids come into about fruition now, haven't you, James? How many have you got? 7, 8?
I've only got 2. I don't know where you get this from.
3, 4.
Some specific number that I never remember.
Toby's got a little board. I found one of the Hot Wheels little boards that he has a little ride around on. But I think I don't want to push him too early because I think I'll do the opposite and put him off. So he might not want to ride all together. But I was 9 when I started. My brother was 8. I think that's about a good age because you might actually be able to control the board. And seeing boards like the new Hero Junior board, that's going to help a lot as well. There's not been a kids board in how long? It's been way too long.
It would be an absolute joy to hear that became the best-selling board for Hero. I mean, with all the best will in the world, but there is, thankfully now again, there is a choice of top-end pro freestyle boards for people to ride. Or just pro boards, sorry, not freestyle, just any sort of boards. But like you say, what would the last kid-specific board be? I mean, I think maybe Scrub or those arcade. RK6 or something.
RKB.
Did they do a kids board, like a kids?
They did kite boards, I suppose, kind of worked as both, but it might have even been the last MBS run, was like the Core 90.
Yeah, Core 1 was the little ones, weren't they? That's out in a van. But yeah, it would be amazing to hear that suddenly became, or not suddenly, just became a bestseller, because it would mean that mountain boarding's doing the right thing, and it's keeping new young people coming into it. Like I say, we mentioned Sloggs earlier, has been away this last weekend, putting a load of kids at a camp with Eamon, putting them through like mountain board school as such. He's done a good few hundred kids there, and they've gone back. They're going back again this week with flyers and stuff to give out, so that the kids have some, something to take away and go, oh yeah, we did mountain board, and this is the leaflet. Well, we can go and do it here at Bugs. Like something physical in their hands to take away from. Hopefully, I mean, it'd be nice to do some demos again. I mean, geez.
Get out there and show the sport. I mean, it is really important to just try and captivate as many people into it as we can. And if it's even the parents seeing it and thinking that it's good enough for the kids to get and ride, like you say, having this hero deck is such an advantage to the sport. Because it finally means there's something that is controllable by somebody smaller. Because that's, I guess, one of the main issues, isn't it?
That is the problem, is not having the weight to better control a big, heavy board. And if you've got a board set up for them, they've got that sort of step into the sport where they're not going to go, oh, I can't do this very easily, and then they just stop. And I think, again, like you say about shows, both Dylan in Australia and the French guys are showing how things like the DD airbags can make those demos much more accessible.
Yeah.
You needed a roll in and a kicker, and you've got that airbag landing there, and you can throw some tricks more riders can get involved and throw those tricks, because it's a little bit safer on the airbag, but you're still getting the same crowd wow from it.
Exactly.
Having the money and the setup to start it.
Yeah. Well, this is it, and for it, the people involved, for them not to be out of pocket as such for helping. Do you know what I mean? Like back in the day when Ride the Hill used to do their learn to ride, some of them were free, some of them used to have to pay for. Like we went to a tattoo convention the weekend. It was 4 or 5 quid for 9 arrows on a bow and arrow, and it was like 5 minutes and you're done.
That was it.
Why can we not be charging 5 quid, 10 quid, or say 5 quid? That's something that people would actually spend.
Half an hour.
10 minutes, half an hour on a 4 foot high slope to a flat ride on rail and a max track kicker.
Yeah.
No, for
the ideal.
And
out of like tying those two things in together, really, out of my experience working at Hart Hill, was the varied range of body shapes and sizes of people you get riding boards. That the smallest kids ones don't work for the smallest children, that having this hero board and being able to have that show of just a 4 foot ramp rolling is going to be a nice future, hopefully, for mountain boarding in that aspect.
I mean, even if you got, you don't even have to have, no disrespect to the top guys here like yourself, James, and that, but you don't even need to necessarily have the top guys being the sole purpose of the demo. The demo can you could quite easily hold, if your instructors were just your standard run-of-the-mill mountain boarders, mid-level mountain boarders, they can all throw down a 360 or a 180 or do a board slide. There's many people that can do that, and that putting on a big air show, that's one thing, but exposing people to mountain boarding, you can do that with just a 180. You can do that with a nose roll, any of those little things, or just a no comply or something like that.
because a double backflip looks amazing, but you might not think, you'd be like, wow, that's cool, but that looks dangerous, you know. So it's having an accessible level of a trick as well, isn't it? Like you say, a no comply or a board slide. I mean, like I think it's golden being able to do a 50-50 on a mountain board at Bugs Boarding and just roll onto that rail. You know, so many kids have
hear that noise and
yeah, now they're hooked. Now they're in. You know, that's what we want. So, like you say, I think that's a very good point to be made.
I should keep. If anybody in the community has any ideas or has any connections within festivals or like this, I forget, Camp Wildfire, I think it's called, the one that Sloggs and Eamon have been doing.
Yeah.
And I know that the person who organised that is essentially an events company. But if you have connections in events companies or anything that puts on this sort of thing, I know Marty used to do Bestival, didn't he, with the skate ramps and stuff like that. A bit different, but those sorts of people, if we can figure out a way of us putting mountain boarding somewhere where it's going to be seen and that we can entice a few bums on seats, it would be worthwhile us, surely, as a community, anybody trying to get this rolling. We're all here, we'd all help out with it, you know, like it all.
Oh yeah, on that note, actually, I may as well drop this now. It's only been advertised in the last few hours, probably it was recording or before we were recording, but there's going to be a girl camp at Bugs Boarding. The end of October, beginning of October, end of September, beginning of October. I think it's the 30th to the 1st weekend. They're doing sort of Bugs's, they're putting on their sort of anniversary party. So it'd be nice if everyone came along to that. But there is going to be a girl camp hosted by Lisa McClellan. So any girls listening, I hope you've got a wide audience of girls, Dan. Please come along and learn to ride. So that's a great opportunity as well for a group of people that aren't in mountain boarding enough as well. We need more female participation. So come along and learn some mountain boarding at the greatest centre in the UK or possibly the world. Come along.
Definitely. I think you're right. I had heard that date being bandied around, but it's not for us to announce that in certainty. Go check the post from Lisa McClellan, Indeed UK Mountain Boarding or Bugs specifics that are going to be correct. But yeah, definitely we will hopefully be doing something with Lisa and Sarah and maybe Nina as well. Hopefully in the lead up to that, to try and raise the profile. But yeah, any ladies out there that are listening and in the UK or not in the UK but just want to go on to an all ladies day, well, I don't suppose it won't be all ladies there, but the focus will be the ladies there today and helping them build that side of the scene in the UK.
Yeah, just sort of a progression session is what it's meant to be, and just whether you're already an avid mountain boarder or not, it'd be nice for you to show your face and you can learn to, ride or just meet the people, so it should be a good one. And I think it's happening all the same weekend as their anniversary. So maybe there'll be even a few beers in the evening if you want to hang around.
Yeah. I learned from probably what is the best female rider that's probably ever been on a mountain board, let's be fair.
Yeah.
I think if Nikki Forecast had stayed with it, then I would love to have seen them two primes.
Nikki was stomping backflips in 2006, I think it was.
Yeah,
massive as well, and she was so quick, rapid as well.
Another Herefordshire local, you know what I mean? The water's different around here.
How we make
it. She's had the world to go conquer, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be nice to. In fact, I did message her a little while back. We should ping her a message because she was very stoked to hear from the mountain board scene, i.e. me. But yeah, ping a message, get her over there for the ladies' day. That'd be
sick.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have to do that.
But yeah, we'll be pushing that. I'm not sure there is much else penned in for the UK season this year, is there?
Rhythm Cross are doing a day at Crewe Pump Track.
Oh, nice.
I think it's second or third week of September, along those lines. Check out Rhythm Cross on their Facebook. Leon Dove's put an event together. I think it's for his birthday bash. I think part of the tagline was "Who can beat Leon in his 40s?" I think it was something like that. But yeah, that crew pump track's always a good race. So
yeah, wicked. Keep an eye out for that, and let us know of any details. We'll help push that out there as well. But yeah, we're coming. We're only in August, second half of August, but without much penned in, as like legit comps or legit meetups. It kind of feels like that there's not much going on at the moment. The French champs are 23rd of September, I think, 23rd, 24th of September in Brittany at the new Narano Riders project, Antoine's project. That place looks sick.
David's putting on a comp as well, isn't he?
Yes.
Yes. I'm unsure of the dates for that one. You'd have to definitely check out Mountainboard Info on Instagram, I think. But yeah, that's not far off either, is it? I don't think.
No, all end of September there.
Yeah, and anyone who's got the time and money that wants to go out should, because those jumps are worth the trip. Like, it's such a nice setup he's got.
Every I'm sure of yourself there, it looks like a great place to ride. It does.
He's going to be hospitable as fuck. I couldn't even say that then, but he's David, he'll look after you as well. Gents, I'm looking at the time. We've come around for just over an hour there. I would normally. There is a time in the podcast where Sloggs has a little bit of a moment, and he's been, like I say, the fame's gone to his head. He's gotten slack. He's not bothered doing it. He keeps saying, "Oh, but there's too many guests to do it," or I forgot, or
running out of inspiration.
Yeah, putting shat all over my bit of paper. I don't know any of the excuses.
My Lamborghini needs servicing. I've got to go. There's ladies at my door. I need to push off with a rake. Things like that. He goes on. I mean, it's all from his mouth. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, he's not got a 10 set. He's not even left a 10 set. Then I take it. He's not here, and his
but champ is champ for a reason, because he's fuck.
I did homework at least 2 minutes before we went live.
That's all he needs to do, for fuck's sake. Slog it. Take note.
Yeah, true Sloggs style. We've got a 10 set. Don't think about it too much, or don't think about it at all.
Right, wicked. I'm in.
But we'll start with the classic reg or goof.
Regs,
of course.
Regs all the way. Sometimes I feel like actually I should have been a goofy skater sometimes, because then pop shove-its come well clean and goofy, but they do not in regular.
I'm there with my goofy skate regular mountain board. There is theory.
I am talking to the wrong person about this. You're just ambidextrous, aren't you? Yes.
Favorite border cross track, but I am taking Hart Hill out the equation.
You know what? Bugs Boarding's coming in now. With those corners this year, that update, that's made it one of my favourite border cross tracks ever, I think. Going back, it would have had to be the OG out to grass. But yeah, now still in existence, Bugs Boarding.
Yeah, man, those berms, you're like bouncing off those hips when you get them just right. Fast, flowy, and like effortless. It's great.
Yeah, I love some turns. Yeah,
big props to the dig crew on that, because I had such a blast on it on the Friday. The only riding I had on the weekend, it was just lush.
It was a good session that evening and that day. Yeah, it was a good vibe going, wasn't it? It was nice. Everyone was bending it in, and it was fun to ride. Those last few corners, that new section has just made it very interesting, I think.
Yeah. Favorite freestyle? Again, not allowed to say Hart Hill.
I think it might be Ironsides. I think Court Farm. Yeah, they had a nice sort of gradient of sort of building up jumps, and it's probably where I hurt myself the most and why you don't catch me doing freestyle.
Yeah, I feel like they were a good sort of like medium to big size, if that makes sense. They weren't ridiculously big, but you couldn't count them as small. So they were a good sort of push into that.
Definitely.
Favorite grab for you to do? What's your favorite one to throw out?
Oh, like a roast beef shifty. That's my favorite. Like a front side shifty roast beef. Maybe even like straighten that back leg a little bit. You know,
That's very nice.
very nice.
Your favorite grab to see somebody else throwing down?
Oh, I'm deep into like a good melon grab. If I see a steezy melon backside one melon grab would just like, oof, yeah. I might have killed another one of your stair set.
No.
Good. All right, we'll continue.
A couple of Sloggs classics. Favorite rider to ride with?
Ooh, Ash Mulholland, definitely. And Andy Big D as well. But yeah, I always had fun with Ash. Yeah. We've ridden at silly times all over the world. It's been great. Yeah.
Yeah, he always throws down as well. His freestyle this year, again, little throw out.
Yeah. I didn't think he was gonna keep like going so big almost. Like there was almost a year I was like, oh, maybe Ash is gonna tone it down a bit now. But no.
Yeah. After his ankle break, I thought, oh, maybe he's gonna chill out now. But no, throwing that back hook 7 is like first tee. But literally La showed me it and she was like, sorry, but when did Ash get so good? Insane.
Yeah, it's the gymnast at heart, that kid. Yeah.
And favorite rider to watch?
You like UK or worldwide? What we saying? Might be AJ Lawson. I think he's my favorite to watch. Yeah, he's flowy, steezy, big tricks, steezy little tricks. He's got it all. Like, yeah, it's really nice. He definitely brings that like snowboarding vibe to mountain boarding.
Yeah, I was so stoked when I saw that he picked up a board again after so long. What about favorite UK rider then? That's a half question.
Sort of
The half question. That's the skate at the little bumps at the top of the stairs, for the blind people.
The blind strips at the top. You got to just pop before you get to it. Yeah. I'd probably put Eamon and Emlyn. I think two riders just to watch that. It's always steezy all the time.
Yeah, Emlyn's got to be right up there for mine as well. He's nobody else rides like Baines. He's the Baines.
And yeah, he's just
famous
beautifully. And watching, I don't know if he used to skateboard, but watching him skateboard now as well, I don't know if that's like crossed over a bit. And there's a bit of like a skateboarder style to his mountain boarding as well. It's really nice. Yeah.
Next one is, if you had a choice to ride down Bugs' board across in switch or with no heel straps, which one would you do?
Switch, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm scared to do it, but I'm starting to. Like, I've got a bit of a switch riding sort of skill, but yeah, it's like sod no heel straps.
Yeah,
we should have a big switch day next time we're all. Or like the end of the weekend, do the switch.
I think it's Switch Sunday, isn't it? That's it. Sunday comes, you got to ride and switch. It's just the way it is.
Me and Ben used to do switch days growing up, so we could. Ben could do the whole black run at Court Farm and switch.
That was a border cross track to behold. That was massive and gnarly, wasn't it? One of the last comps I remember there was ridiculous around those berms. The speed they were taking. I think it was like a wet day as well, and eventually it was just eventually dried up maybe, and it was super gnarly.
I feel like if I didn't have the privilege of riding it so often, getting so comfortable with it, then I would have just been terrified. But I think I rode it in every possible weather and speed scenario, so it was always okay because it was just And the hardest two questions left: Andy Brind or Matt Brind?
Who is Matt Brind?
There you go.
I only know Andy, so
it's got to be Brind.
Yeah, but if you can maybe show me a picture of a face, something where he's been involved with UK mountain boarding in any shape or form, I'll believe you. But I know Andy Brind exists.
I think I've got a photo of Matt doing an indie grab. That might.
Yeah,
I think that might be the other brother, James.
Right.
Oh, okay. Is it? Yeah. See? Yeah. Not real.
For the win. Andy should have won this year. Sorry, Andy. And then the hardest of them all, Dan or Sloggs?
What? In which kind of way? What?
Well,
interesting reply. I like that.
Okay. Well, number one on a board, and number two if you're alone.
Probably. I've not really ridden with Dan, so I'd say ride with Dan. Yeah, and then I've seen just what Sloggs wears sometimes. So alone time probably Sloggs.
Yeah, so I think Dan on a board and Sloggs off a board.
Yeah,
I think James, you've just uncovered a new question that should go forward every week, and it needs to be a variation of snog, marry, and avoid, doesn't it? Really? What would you say? Ride, party, and I don't know what the third one will be. We'll have to
ride, party, and struggle cuddle.
Yeah, struggle cuddle.
A big spoon or jetpack? That's what it should be. Would you big spoon Dan, or would you jetpack Dan?
That's your 10 set.
Yeah, nice.
Thanks for stepping up there, James. I really appreciate that. It's more than my usual co-host does.
I'm just going to remind Slog of his only duty apart from showing up is the 10 set. So.
But yeah, James, is there, before I ask Nash the last questions, is there anything that you wanted to bring to this? You know, we've done your 10 set, but is there any questions you had for Nash before we tie it up?
What year was it that you started riding? We kind of got how you did it, it was early on. Do you remember when you saw?
It might have been like 01, 02, 2001, 2002, and then I think first comp would have been 03 or 04. I think it wasn't long after. It was literally within a year or
must have been like this big.
It's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was no. No. I was like, then I'm 16, 17. Yeah, 17. Yeah, because we drove, because our first comp, Andy borrowed his dad's van and we just went off in his dad's van and pulled up, didn't know anyone, and that was it. Yeah.
That's it. You're almost as gifted in the youthful looking department as me.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
How old are you?
Yeah, currently 36. You know, we're not far off 37. So yeah. Nice. It's definitely been 20 odd years of been loving mountain boarding, because it's like it's mad to think really it's 20 years and then more when it comes to how long I've been riding any sort of board. You know, it must have been 12 or something. 11, 12. Yeah, probably about 12 when I got a skateboard.
The same thing. 2001 was my first year on a board, so that's 22 years.
Yeah, it's bonkers, isn't it? Yeah, so let's keep it going. I didn't like. Let's keep pushing it. I'm no gatekeeper with this stuff. Let's just like get everybody riding and make them good for 20 years.
we're all getting older, and we're still going. But I think it's also part of the reason I really wanted the kids to meet obviously all our European family over in France, but it was also there was a bit of proving that the same as like Andy Demelo, Beer, and everybody still turning up with the kids and riding, that we're growing up, we've got families and stuff, but you can still you can do it with them. You know what I mean? You can granted,
big up to to Andy for getting his kids on board that weekend as well. He got some little mountain boards and got them riding down the hill.
Yeah.
And it's just that little bit of introduction. And even if they never mountain board, we're a bloody lovely bunch, aren't we? So it's nice to just we're a great family.
And the kids absolutely love it. Like the camping at Bugs, they love, and going to France, they loved. I mean, it's I feel it really difficult for Lara when I'm off competing for a few hours and they're like really, really tired. So it's would appreciate her looking after them. But overall, the kids just love it. What's not to love? They're outside. There's people everywhere. They're running around. They
just become feral children again, don't they? It's great. Just like the wild now. And then
How I do that.
Yeah. All you have to do is just check where they are occasionally and you're sound.
Yeah.
It's joyous to see the families back in on the weekends and stuff. It really is nice. Was there anything else, James? There? No.
No, that's it. That's good.
Nash, is there anything you wanted to add before the end of there?
Just go mountain board. Do what Dylan Warren says. Get off your couch, because if you're sharing it on Instagram predominantly, I want to share you doing it. So make sure you tag UK Mountain Boarding, hashtag UK Mountain Boarding. Do your bit to just like stuff online. Like if it's anything to do with mountain boarding, just hit the like. It takes nothing when you go past something. Just even if you do or don't like it, to be honest, it'll help promote boarding.
It is as lame as it is. Clicking the heart button, clicking the like or whatever, or subscribing to the other mountain board channels. If you see somebody putting a video out on YouTube, just fucking like it. What difference does it make to your life? But what you're inadvertently doing is building something. And if everybody does it, think how mental it would be if. What is there? You got over 1,000 followers there, aren't you?
It's nearly hitting 2K soon. Woo.
So nearly 2,000 followers. If you put out a post and all 2,000 of those people shared it, okay, for that moment, if you go on all your friends' news stories, that's what you're going to see. But also, that will mess with the algorithms so much that it will just get leapfrogged into other people's phones without.
You see that happen occasionally when it comes to a certain thing or a certain trick. For instance, Emlyn at the last UK Champs on that Friday where we were hitting the board across, he does that insane manual between the last two humps of that straight. And one of them looks like he nearly goes over, and that got shared through all of us lot mountain boarding. There was so many of us that I saw share it, mixed with all of the mountain boarders around the world sharing it. And that's hit 50,000 plays, 60,000 plays. It's still growing likes on it now. It's and that's just through one trick, one thing. And you witness it exponentially grow and snowball. Clicking a like, clicking the little save button in the corner as well. That helps your algorithm. And just a comment, just put anything. It doesn't have to be any. You
don't even have to get off your couch to do any of that either, and you're still boarding.
Yeah, and if you're the perfect person, all you'll do is mountain board and then go on social media sharing mountain boarding and wake up and repeat. But please, follow UK Mountain Boarding, share anything that you like with UK Mountain Boarding, and I'd like to share it. And if you want to find any mountain board friends around the world, or you want to find some of the riders you've never seen before, go through either my following list or who's following UK Mountain Boarding, because it's predominantly all there, and you'll be able to find another rider or a new person. Because I'd love to share the world, but I'm slightly glad that you have that task instead, Dan, because sometimes it's a lot with UK mountain boarding, and I've had my ups and downs and mental breakdowns with it, and come back and gone and then done it all. But it's there's a lot out there, and I feel like it is growing, and we need everybody to do their bit. Big up to anybody that's done anything of a social media account to do with mountain boarding. There needs to be another another UK mountain boarding. There needs to be literally somebody else who thinks they can do it better and just do it as well. There needs to be the French version. There needs to be the American version. You know, I want it all. Like, there's so many of those skateboarding, BMX, longboard accounts that are completely unrelated to any specific person, and they're getting millions of shares and follows and everything. It's just putting eyes on it, you know, and we can do that to mountain boarding with your help.
Perfect. Well, look, gents, I'm going to tie it up there if that's all right with you both.
Yeah, man,
I'm going to thank you both for your time. Thank you to Jonesy and Lola there for letting me steal you both away for an hour this evening. I can't wait to see us both on the hill again soon and go for a shred. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll let James say the final words.
You've been watching The Dirt.
Way aye, man. That was dead canny as out, that like. Cheers for tuning out to listen. Now, before you go yam, don't forget, if you want to keep getting doing with the dirty fun, like and subscribe. Get amongst it. Shy Ben's getting out.